testing for user units. Now, you don't want to enroll people just because you want to practice what you just learned. You must go through the process of proper counseling and proper client selection. Now, of course, the challenges are linked to these seeds as I told you about. When there are no commodities, there's no problem. When there are no consumable supplies, you don't have longer university concept. But also, there are some parts of the country where family planning is still something regarded as a taboo. It's like a stigma. But I tell you, don't talk about family planning, talk about band spacing. In those places, you need to do demand creation. You have to educate them about the benefits of everybody can see the challenges that Nigeria has with population explosion. We have young people everywhere, no jobs, and children that are not being cared for by parents, they are on the streets begging for food. So obviously, they can be a better job of planning their families and having babies when we need them, not just by chance, but rather by choice. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I'll go next to Mrs. Yusuf, the Deputy Registrar for Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria. Whilst they are answering this question, if you have any comments, you can jot them down because we may not be able to take all. We must take a few, but we can respond to others once we have them. Now, we know that Nick gave us during the contest and setting the tone for this session that UNFPA and other partners have worked with the council in strengthening and supporting schools of midwifery in Nigeria. Professor Dr. Lori Joseph training. We want to focus more on pre-service now because it's a cost-effective way which we go for doing business unusual to ensure that quality of the lab training in the schools of midwifery is strengthened.
Thank you very much. The chairman of the session, other panelists, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. The Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria, being a regulatory agency, has 98 schools of midwifery and departments of nursing and non-midwifery program for their bachelor's degree, as I speak with you today. So when we saw the need to train the midwives, we believe the pre-service training is definitely a more cost-effective way of ensuring that every midwife that graduates comes out with knowledge and skills on lab. And so with support from UNFPA in terms of funding, we organized a training because there is no way we can review the curriculum and introduce lab if all the teachers teaching in the schools don't have the knowledge and the skills. So the first thing we did was to identify the 98 training institutions. These are schools that produce post-basic trained midwives, basic midwives, community midwives, and also those that graduate as part with bachelors of nursing science. They also do the midwifery during the program. After identifying those institutions, we identified the tutors in the schools that teach family planning. Because we have been teaching family planning, it is in the curriculum. But when new concepts come like that, of course, we need to appreciate them. And so we organize a training of trainers, and Maristos conducted the training in 4 zones in Nigeria so that we can have smaller groups of people that will be able to also train their hands. At the end of the training, I can tell you all the 98 schools were represented. And so we had the courage to now look at our curriculum department. 1 year after that training, you know, as students, the only way you can get people to sit up is when they talk of the exam. And so during our OSCE, we decided lab is going to form one of our OSCE stations. And that's really made everybody to sit up. And I can assure you that we intend to continue doing that for some time. I won't tell you which exam because it's late from here. So if you like, go and say I've linked you. So we introduced it into the exam. But we have two reasons for doing that. Not only to ensure that the students become serious in learning, but also to see if learning has taken place. If the tutors have been trained, we're able to pass the knowledge with the students. So it was a two-way thing. And at the end of our assessment, the students did very, very well in that. I can see that. Now, what does that tell us? We graduate about 3,000 midwives annually from these schools that I mentioned. The name of the schools of midwifery, basic, post-basic, community, and the Department of Nursing. The challenge we have is that when they graduate, some of them don't have where to work. And when you talk of skills, you can learn all the skills in the world. If you don't practice, you forget. So that is a challenge. I am bringing it up here so that all the partners that are seated in this room can form, and be our advocates as you work in your states, as you and retention of these midwives. If this is not done, we will continue to graduate midwives who come out with very good knowledge and skills in lab, but having nowhere to practice, and we will not be able to achieve results. So for us at Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria, we have the manuals, the tutors have been trained, they are teaching. We have our support system in case of any challenge. We have a way of providing the supportive services, and we also work with other partners to ensure that as new knowledge comes in lab and many other things, we bring the knowledge to our educators and they are able to impart on the students. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for sharing this experience. We'll go a little bit further down and ask Mrs. Sukan, who is the FCT School of Midwifery tutor, to share your experience. Mrs. Yusuf did tell us they started with the tutors and then the tutors stepped down. Can you share your experience on NAC training, specifically using your School of Midwifery as a case study?
Thank you, Chairman. And this translated into having students that could really benefit from a wide range of teachers. But doing 5 more main teachers involved in teaching and supervisory strategy was put in place as schools of midwifery are used to. Almost every week we need a test, and a test students don't really know that test is organized just to find out whether they grasped what was taught, and my students are doing well because every continuous assessment test that we make students will pass, and this will work appreciate nothing I'm doing as UNFPA. After that, we swung into life I call our language. Because then, in fact then, the long-acting reversible contraceptive methods, they used to be doctors, specially trained professionals. It used to be what they do and not any other midwife. But as teachers were trained, we discovered that the students are also become specialists in administration, especially IUCDs, midwifery. My students demonstrated that, especially when one of them supervised us, and then went into her reading room and then produced a medical eligibility criteria review. I can't be here to show you. That a student just surprised us one day and came up with this and said, Madam, we know it's only you teachers that have this way and teach you own it and it doesn't go around students. And so she went and then started on so when we look at it as teachers, we discover that it's marvelous. It's fantastic. This is a locally made behavior that make the students almost have copies and not wait for grade made from the WHO and stats. This is to say that our students, they have not just grasped lab and the teaching and the content, but they have also demonstrated with this evidence that they can stand and improvise and do something for themselves and they can provide quality services. I have one evidence. Nothing that midwifery council give us by surprise. It wasn't really a surprise, it was my school was weird. They gave us a question and they gave us an OSCE station. Do you know in that March 2014, my students got the best of results of the country. She said it was surprise. My students passed with distinctions, credits, and 100% wasn't for distinction. And this occurred because the teachers were so committed, and then the constant updates by UNFPA and the Nursing and Midwifery Council and Society for Family Health, especially, they concentrated in our school, and they do give us these comments, and our students benefited, and they gave us, in fact, a surprise in the country. And my employer, that is the owner of the school, is proud. In fact, there was a time the school was like having infrastructural problems, and so money wasn't there. But when my result was presented to the then minister, the minister said, you mean we have this kind of result in FCT? Please help me work at the problems in FCT. And that was went along with it. In fact, the infrastructure is up to now being improved in the university. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Adam. I know you're excited about the things that you've experienced in your school. But one follow-up question which you'll keep on to answer later is it's obvious that there were a lot of theoretical aspects. You need to have evidence on hands-on my own side, I want to know how you are ascertain the competency of these students looking at the 5-6 from Professor Otolori. Secondly, how many cases did they handle before you certified them? Did they have a logbook? Where was your practice site for the school? How many volume of clients did they see by that time? So that will come as we prepare that data. So I'll take the last presenter because of our time. Mr. Jerry Dem, the rep of MSD in Nigeria. We know MSD has supported lab in Nigeria through the implant and the next generation of the implant. Could you just briefly tell us what support you've given to Nigeria and what support you intend to look at that the ground has broken to scale up lab in Nigeria? Briefly.
Thank you very much. Permit me to start on existing protocol. I want to build up on what Prof said. There's no commodity and there's no program. So for MSD, we are part of the Global FB 2020 initiative. And in 2012, MSD signed a historic price agreement to lower the price of implant and implant NXT to the countries of the world in order to increase access to long-acting methods. This price agreement was signed together with Gates Foundation, CHI, DFID, NORA, just to mention a few. Recently, just 2 months ago, MSD has decided to extend this price agreement until the year 2023. The initial agreement was to 2018, but now we have a price extension. MSD has also invested billions of dollars to in order to meet the demands across the world in the different countries. Locally here, we have continued support with our interest in maternal health and child health through different projects like the Men for Mothers project. And also we have supported trainings by providing placebos and also model arms. I think in 2015, in collaboration with UNFPA and the Wellbeing Foundation, we donated some model arms to the 98 schools of midwifery in the country. Part of the plans we have to do going forward is that the country is trying to scale up lab use with community health extension workers. And that is one of the reasons why the implant NXT itself was developed, which allows low-skilled health workers to be able to easily introduce the implants into our increasing clients in the country. So going forward, I'll also say that MSD is committed to bring more arms for the cascade training and also to secure some set of funding in order to move the training of the implant NXT across the country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So exciting times are ahead of us. So we'll throw the floor open for 2 comments. We'll take 2 comments from each of the row. Please introduce yourself and be brief. We're trying to manage the remaining time. And then you let us know which of the panelists this comment or question you're directing to so that they can prepare the answers. So,
I'm from the space to represent of ICM, and it's not a specific question to anybody can answer, but I just wondered how are women and the public being involved in information dissemination about contraceptive use and birth spacing?
Praise Titilayo Almighty from Abuja State. My question is on the dying mothers in rural areas. There are those who also be passionate with these dying mothers, with community-based NGOs. there. I want to know what ICM is going to do about those that have passion for this model. Somebody like me. My CEO is a community-based organization called Postmarshal State NGO. And I go to the rural communities to see to these dying mothers. In what way do you want to come to our aid, to assist us? Those ones that go right to the remote areas. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you just pass it to the next person? So I've never heard that of that.
Hello, good afternoon. My question or my suggestion is, I want you to incorporate family planning curriculum into secondary school syllabus, because there is a link between gender, sexual, and reproductive health. Thank you.
So, do we have any questions from the far left?
Talking about the human resources, many is a very challenge. The human resources to the remote areas, communities, is so low. I want to link this to NSS. I want to know what the government is doing concerning our NSS, because it also helps us to be able to reach out to these women in the community. So I want to know what's really happening in our NSS. Thank you.
So thank you very much for these questions. The panelists will take. We have two questions and two comments. The first question is, how are women and the public being informed about family planning and child spacing? So
yes. Well, there are different ways. Behavior and communication. I must admit that we don't have as much of this as we should. There are some gatekeepers in different parts of the country that do not encourage family planning information and communication. However, we are talking to women during pregnancy and labor. We are promoting immediate post-partum family planning. So during antenatal clinic, women have health education, and one of the topics they talk about is family planning. And if they don't select a method during antenatal clinic, during labor, or immediately after labor, they are also educated in the family planning. But there are different NGOs, some of them led by women. Their activities are more located in some parts of the south. They are less obvious in the north. Most of them in the north don't emphasize motherhood. But they forget that family planning is a very important intervention for society. Maybe I can use this opportunity to answer the question from the lady from Kogi State about the women who are dying in Kogi State from childbirth. I think that there's a lot to be done, and what is most important is the emergency preparedness of our health facilities to provide basic emergency obstetric and newborn care. I strongly believe that any woman who arrives in a health facility with a life-threatening complication of pregnancy and childbirth should leave that facility. And that can only happen if every single facility is ready when they arrive. Blood transfusion, drugs, the human resources, everything ready, provided against facility is ready to provide basic learning subject and development. And then we'll start with the rest of it. Thank you.
So the second question that goes to government on MSS and swung between FFOH and Nursing Council, because both of them are actually involved in the scheme. So just 30 seconds FFOH, 30 seconds Council. Time is a
Okay, Madam Chair, thank you. The area of MSS is supposed to be a stop-down measure to ensure that we have a scheme provider take up pregnant women. And the arrangement initially was that federal government will start with local government and state also had a component. And I bet today, it's still cheaper. This is the bottleneck that is affecting MSS.
Okay, thank you very much. I must apologize to the students because I know what they are talking about. We have 3 sets of students that have graduated and are yet to be mobilized. Some have been at home for like 2 years. And without the mandatory service, they cannot be registered by the council. It is an issue of funding, but like I said, it is being resolved. We have the assurance that as soon as the budget is approved, the students will be mobilized. We are also looking at other options, especially for the sets that have spent over 1 year for no fault of theirs. So council is working closely with the Federal Ministry of Health and the National Primary Welfare Development Agency to resolve the issues. And as soon as those issues are resolved, we will get back to the students. And let me also appreciate MSD. I'm talking of UNFPA, Maristos, Japago, and the rest. MSD actually donated arms to the schools and additional. And we really appreciate it because after the TOT, when we set the questions, we now realize they didn't have arms in the schools. So they had to use foam and other improvised things. But MSD came to our rescue through support of different partners. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'll just add a couple of comments to the suggestion of incorporating the FP curriculum. Yes, it's already under the FH Family Health and Family HIV Education. It's already embedded in there as part of, not at the primary level, but at secondary. It has to go at primary. For the rural areas working with CBOs, I'm sure you are partners working in the state, and it's a collaborative effort with the ministry or the local government where you are based. There is a lot of implementing partners in the week. I know the Bible is there, so link up with them, they can collaborate and work on. Other platforms of ensuring that the public is informed about FPR through community mobilization, social mobilization. We have the entertainment education platform, a lot of campaigns going on in Nigeria through radio drama, through TV sports and radio sports. So it's targeted at different audience like Professor rated. It's not one size fits all. Each area, each community have their niche and their need area, and so platforms that pertain to them to take care of whatever the barriers is are adopted by different partners, both public and private. And also we have the religious platforms who also have adaptation of different verses, whether in the Quran or in the Bible, and they use it as messaging to the different communities. This brings us to the end of, oh yes, I forgot the last question. So after your answers, we'll round up the session. Because the NC is on my neck, to give you time.
Thank you very much. I want to also add that this midwife, student midwives we see, are not states in the 98 schools national. The Northern and Midwifery Associations. They do community because they are community-based midwifery. And they do one-on-one counseling, they do one-on-one interaction with women living in their homes, and they even go to churches, to schools, to mosques, in their communities. You know, they go to communities 3 times in their training, when they are training 3 years ago. So they spend more time in the community. And then they advocate and mobilize the women in the community to family planning services. They do this in the outside of their trainings. And that's why their training in life is very, very important in the services. I want to also say that we have competency skills form that we have to do with society and then we use this to evaluate our students in high practical areas. And we have what is called instruction logbook that we get from us and it stipulates for a student midwife to qualify how many insertions are you supposed to do or to make. And they are there. And any student that doesn't meet with that, the student doesn't qualify. But thank God the students have more of those insertions because they have many areas of practice. And then the question again on how many sites do students go to practice sites. In Abuja particularly, we have 6 area councils that our students go to. And then our teachers, training instructors and that supervise them on basis that they have arranged. And they go to supervise the morning to see how they are faring. And that's what we do. Thank you very much.
We have no time to expanded cultural view, but I welcome everyone participating here to follow up with the panelists if you have more questions, and also the UNFPA who organized this session to the roundtable. Thank you for being attentive to this session, and I hope it's quite worthwhile for all of us. I've learned a couple of things I know about you. Do have a good afternoon.
I think we can do better than this. Let's see the number of resounding applause. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, moderator. You lead so well. I'm beginning to imagine that tomorrow is going to be more interesting with what we've been able to achieve today in spite of the time loss. I'd like us to please applaud them one more time. And I'll make some very quick plea. First, I'd like to plead with Professor Benga Makwolu to please spare us the next couple of minutes to be able to listen to a presentation from Access Bank. After that, we'll take your presentation and then we go back to the female genital mutilation, which is a presentation of the United Nations Population Fund. I just need to plead with you because I know you also have a flight to catch. Please, thank you for your understanding. Now, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we'll be taking the next presentation, and this is on improving access to quality maternal health care. And to do this presentation will be Doyin Coker, the group head of the personal banking, Access Bank of Nigeria PLC, and one of our sponsors of this event. I'd like us to please welcome her to the rostrum for our presentation. Doyin Coker, please.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Doyin Coker. I serve as the head of the personal banking team in Abuja. I'm an assistant general manager with Access Bank. I would like to stand on existing protocols and just cut to the chase because I know we're tight on time. So we're talking about improving access to maternal health care. Let me just give you a brief about Access Bank. Access Bank is a full-service Tier 1 commercial bank in Nigeria and is one of the top 20 African banks in terms of assets and capital. With over 800,000 shareholders, our goal is to be the world's most respected African bank. We were listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange in 1998, and we operate out of 366 branches and service centers across Nigeria, Sub-Saharan Africa, and the United Kingdom. For us, we decided to carve a niche in terms of banking women, and banking women not just in terms of account opening and transactions, but actually impacting women. And so in 2014, we came up with what we call the W Initiative, which is not a product, it's not a service, but it's a platform for empowering women across Nigeria. Through the W Initiative, women who are not necessarily account holders, you could be an account holder, but even if you're not an account holder, you would have access to information that empowers you, access to mentoring opportunities, and access to markets if you're a woman in business. And for the purpose of this meeting, to address the issue of maternal health, we came up with the product called the Maternal Health Support Scheme. And we're going to go straight to that slide, which pretty much is set up to help every woman, whether it's a woman professional, a home builder, a girl in school, so long as you're female and you require support with your health, the bank put in place a product that allows women to access financing for healthcare at less. Families overcome the financial challenges and to support them in their quest for money. It also offers a range of finance arrangements for women seeking fertility treatments or anything that has to do with her health. Today, the bank partners with over 44 IVF clinics and other leading hospitals across Nigeria to ensure that the arrangements made are appropriate to the women's needs. Customer confidentiality is strictly observed by trained professionals, and women can have child delivery processes both in Nigeria and abroad. We also help to cater for medical issues like fibroid, arthritis, dental, eye surgeries, anything that has to do with the woman's health. So today, a woman can access up to 4 million naira maximum for a tenure of 36 months for IVF treatment for as many times as is required. For natal support after she's had her child, she can access up to 2 million naira for up to a maximum of 12 months. And for other specialized procedures, it's up to 12 months, but depending on the medical bill. The interest rate for the facility is 14%. You don't get that anywhere today in Nigeria, and there are no facility fees at all. The only fees that the woman will pay is a 0.5% fee, well, not fee, insurance premium, just to insure the loan. And I believe it was last year, we had our, let me make sure I give you the right information. We had our first IVF baby, and this was on June 14, 2000. Through the Maternal Health Support Scheme, the first baby conceived through an IVF procedure, financed under the MHSS, was delivered. And subsequently, we have had other successful IVF surgeries, 12 babies, fibroid treatment, and several other things. I think we deserve a round of applause, even if I have to ask for it. So since we launched it in 2014, 51 women have benefited from this support, and the number is growing. We also have what we call the Hospital Facility Upgrade Support Scheme, which pretty much helps to upgrade medical facilities available in hospitals, particularly women hospitals. The whole idea is to be able to address the issues of inadequate skills, inadequate equipment, inadequate facilities, and anything that will just help to provide quality medical attention to women. We've continued to focus on public health and women's health, and one of the suite of products called the Better Mama, Better Pikin, which is to alleviate infant and maternal mortality for women in northern Nigeria, is currently underway. The product provides life insurance cover to the tune of 30% of the savings deposits of the subscribers, and the remaining 70% is saved for them with interest, which they can access subsequently. And so through these two products, the maternal health support scheme and the health facility health upgrade support scheme, is how Access Bank is helping to provide improved maternal health to women across Nigeria. And should there be a woman here who thinks she can or is interested in approaching the bank to help with her medical needs, please feel free to contact us. We have a desk outside, and we're just a phone call away. You can call us on the Women Banking Team number. There's a dedicated team for women in the bank. We're the only bank in Nigeria that does that. Dedicated team for women, and you can contact us on 01-236-4875. To further convey our seriousness, I'll also give you my cell number so that you can reach me, 0808-560-6789. That's 0808-560-6789. I'm sorry? Oh, my phone number is 0808-560-6789. And the Women Banking Team number is 01-236-4875. Do we have any questions from anybody? Thank you very much. My number again, or the Women Banking number, 01, I think it should be on the screen, 236-4875.
Do we have any hand up for questions? Dr.
Thank you for that. I'm just wondering how do women really need this information? How do we get out of that? Yes, it's okay where they get the information. Yes, it's okay though. Well-educated people, other people know. How are you reaching other people that really need this very important access or service?
Okay, for the, like I said to you, the W initiative is, it's actually a very robust platform. So what we do is, even besides what we do within the bank, we conduct a lot of like seminars and different fora where women come together and share information. We also have an online community. While I understand that women in the rural area might not You can always go online to the W community. There's a whole lot of information there. But on the ground, we do the seminars, the conferences, working with different, just like how we're here, we do this with other organizations as well. Yes. The other day we had an event with the Quintessential Women. It's got hundreds of thousands of women as members.
Yeah, one people, are you thinking of perhaps going to communities because they can access the info technology, but they can afford to reach them?
Correct.
They have a means of going to the villages or the hinterlands, possibly carry out safe kind of exercise.
So in the plan for the W, it's a phased plan. You know, you can't do everything at once. We started this in 2014. So there is a phased plan to get to the grassroots. Naturally we had to start from where, we have the larger percentage. But working with organizations like this, then we can come up with other activities that will reach the women in the grassroots. Good afternoon.
I'm just wondering that actually speaking to women in the community, rural women, they can't really afford. So I'm just wondering if you're going to have separate packages.
Definitely. Yeah.
Is there any other question, please? Because we're here to round up. You want to make a question?
She was asking about collateral. We don't ask for collateral. Like the women that we've done this for, some of them were working women, so they could give us their salary accounts. Some of them had like the support of their husbands, who would like provide some sort of guarantee, right? So what we do is that we also say to the women, even if you cannot guarantee the facility, but there's someone within your immediate family who can help with that, then we take that. But we don't take physical collateral, no.
Okay, I wanted to ask that when we're looking about women's health, most of the women in the rural area, in the one area, can actually access what just asked. I want to ask that, are you trying to really partner with federal government to take this thing that community should talk about? Because most of these women are not, they don't have access to watching television.
Correct.
And what we do for caring for women, we're talking about them.
Correct.
We're talking about bringing them into the life that for when women can enjoy. Like she asked about collateral, because when you talk about banking in Nigeria, you're talking about money. Like what you're talking about, 4 million, some people, 2 million, because some people don't need IVF.
Exactly.
Some don't need fiber surgery. Some people need help. They need their help in order not to get to that level. So are you trying to partner with maybe federal government to make this a reality and as soon as possible so as to save the life is going the next way?
Okay, I would also like to sound a note of caution. Don't forget that we are a private company, right? And so we'll not necessarily be able to do the things that government is supposed to do. What we are trying to do here is to, within our own ability, support access to women's health. Now, sometimes it's not even money, it's programs, it's empowerment programs that you need to do, right? Working with, so the federal government, the Ministry of Health, and agencies and organizations like this. So it's a whole gamut of things. It's not like we're going to throw money all over the place and say we're financing health for every woman. No, that's not the idea. That is just us doing what we can within our own sphere. Okay?
Okay, one more question.
Good afternoon once again.
Good afternoon.
My name is Abuja from the University of Abuja. Your presentation is very fine. If you say 4 million will be paid back within 36 months, what happened to the petty trader in my village? Will she be able to access this? I pay back because I knew I collected 2 million from Public IBC as it cheapest months to pay. I am doing something. So I am asking this question because you have to get, if we are helping the women, how will the woman in the rural area be able to access this, have a child of her own, and be able to pay back? Thank you.
Okay, let me clarify once more. The figures I gave you were the maximum figures. It's not that you have to take 4 million and you have to pay it back in 36 months. Let me elucidate. the maximum that a woman can access is 4 million for a maximum of 36 months. If it's 100,000 that she needs, then she accesses 100,000. If it's 50,000 that she needs, then she accesses 50,000. All I gave were the maximum figures. Do you understand? Okay? All right. Thank you very much.
Do you have your card? I think Access Bank deserves another round of applause. Thank you so very much. But I can tell you that this is actually a step in the right direction. There are not too many banks that are doing this. And apart from the fact that there are not too many banks that are doing this, I see this as corporate social responsibility on the part of Access Bank. That's why I said we should celebrate them. Let's give them another round of applause, please. Thank you very much. Now we need to take one quick one. We're taking the next presentation quickly. We don't want to keep you here for too long because we have a hectic day ahead of us tomorrow. So I'm going to be inviting Professor Benga Makulu to come talk to us on the critical care of a newborn, pharmacies, and the growth chart as well as immunization. Can we please welcome him to the last room, the round of applause. Professor Benga Makulu, thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me observe the existing protocol and also acknowledge the fact that this is a pre-launch presentation. So I'm going to have people who are praying for me so that I can be through with this very quickly. So I hope to be able to keep you alive until lunchtime. It will not take too long. So you can fasten your seatbelts as we go on. And let me start this presentation with a tribute. And that tribute is to my mother. Okay, and the next slide. So, I call her #1 community midwife. We have a maternity home. It's called Inaugural Maternity Home. And I think playing around such an environment had a great contribution in terms of my inspiration to study medicine. The original thinking was that when I finished my study, I would come and run the maternity home. And I remember the disappointment when I said, "You have trained me to outgrow this facility. Let me carry my trade somewhere else, so that I can be useful to the maternity home later on." My own mom had worked in several local communities, and if I was to describe her area of geographical influence, it's actually enormous. And with how we still manage to keep up with the school calendar, it's a big miracle. But more importantly is the fact that because the clinics are always very close to the house, the food, her sleep, and every one of those things are always secondary. Once they bring in a woman who is in labor, she She is committed to body and soul until the person delivers. So her popular name is Yabi in that whole community where she stays. I have never had an opportunity to present her in public, so this is one good opportunity to do that. My next tribute is to all of you who are midwives. You are the silent soldiers that are not usually acknowledged. For the millions of babies you have delivered, for the millions of women you have helped, for many nights you have shared the pains, comforted the anxious, and ran helter-skelter in search of various essentials. You just need to be at a delivery scene and you will appreciate a midwife. So I want on behalf of many babies and mothers who have enjoyed your services to celebrate you. Now, I'll be looking at issues mostly from the other side of placenta, and that's from the newborn perspective. Okay, so very quickly, the first 28 days, that's the neonatal period, is the most vulnerable time for a child's survival. We thank God that over the years, there has been significant improvement in newborn outcome, and it is reported that we've achieved about 47% reduction between 1990 and 2015 in terms of neonatal deaths. So over the same period, the number of newborn babies who have died within the first 28 days declined from 5.1 million to 2.7 million. So no problem, go ahead, let's plan for ourselves. So that we are like these are if nobody corrects us, at least we should correct ourselves. Yeah, but the issue is that over time, whether in the US or anywhere, you will always notice that as far as the 5 mortalities are concerned, you tend to be able to achieve that rapidly once you institute some measures. But the later mortality always tend to fall a little more slowly, and particularly among preterm babies. So that is often a challenge. So, although we are celebrating reductions, but we still have a group that is likely unaffected the way we want them to be affected. So the question is when and why do neonates die? And if you take this chart, you will see that 73% of neonatal deaths, the next slide, 73% of neonatal deaths, next, okay, yeah, occur in the first week of life, and then the remaining is shared over the next 3 weeks. The same thing happens for the under 5 mortality. About 50% of all under 5 mortality occur within the neonatal period, and a significant part of this occur in the first week of life. What's the situation in Nigeria? In Nigeria, we've had about 4 demographic and health surveys since around 1990, and it will appear as if neonatal mortality is higher in the rural area compared to the urban area. And this is what brings me to the role of midwives in newborns. Next 2 slides. Next. All right. Now, I teach neonatology in school, and there was something that we've been teaching students about the basic needs of the newborn. And to help them remember it, we say the need for the newborn to be big, the need for them to be warm, the need to be sweet, and the need to be clean. Okay, so we deliver it in that way. But I circulated the copies of my inaugural lecture at the university, and after people went through it, particularly the convener of this meeting, and there was this decision that we should also look at it from another perspective, and that is why we are presenting the 5 C's as a workable, simple algorithm that will continue to enhance the intervention of midwives in the care of the newborn. Now, the newborn will sound like a branch of pediatrics, but in reality, the issue there are that we grew from obstetric practice. So what happened was that the obstetrician, after they had delivered babies, had the responsibility of looking after babies. And so in the same way, the midwives will find themselves having extended concern for the babies that are being delivered. So I want to run through these 5 C's as a very simple pathway. There is something we call essential care of the newborn. It models it slightly. So the number 1 C here is cleanliness, and just the simple principle of cleanliness throughout the process of delivery and newborn care. Clean delivery, cord care for prevention of newborn infections. So cleanliness, this cleanliness, next slide, next. Yeah. So this cleanliness involves clean hands, clean perineum, nothing unclean to be introduced into the vagina, clean delivery surface, and cleanliness in cutting the umbilical cord, and cleanliness for cord care. So if you just remember the word cleanliness, it's one critical C component that is needed to save the newborn. The next one is color. The appropriate color for a baby is that the baby should be pink. And to be pink is a summary index that the person is having adequate oxygen and good circulation. Okay, so the color in the upper picture shows a baby who is pink. The one in the lower picture shows a baby who is centrally cyanosed, and the one on the extreme right shows a baby who is cyanosed in the periphery. So we call that acrocyanosis. Okay, so what color is something that is very important for us to be able to look at and to see in the newborn babies. And when Dr. Joseph was speaking in the morning, she emphasized skills that are necessary in resuscitation, particularly the helping babies to breathe program. The golden minute, the golden hour is particularly very crucial, and that is the skill that as a group, the midwives must collectively ensure is institutionalized, and there is a way of sustaining that capacity. We've broken the C here into 2 to call the second leg of the C crying, and it's desirable that the baby cries at birth, although it's not compulsory that they must cry at birth. But I want to believe that the midwives that are here, you no longer and I'm sure none of you is still giving the ketamine, Kuramine or ketamine and all of those things. I'm happy from the reaction that I'm getting. So crying is also another indication of normal functioning lungs and the capacity of those lungs to expand and to take in air. And as soon as the baby begins to breathe at the point of delivery, a lot of changes begin to occur. And because of our time, I will not be dealing with the details of what is enclosed in that. You can scroll on to comfort. Yes. Comfort, I think, refers to the temperature of the babies. And when we nurse babies, we say we have to nurse babies in what is called a neutral thermal environment or a thermoneutral environment. This is an environment, a set of environmental conditions at which oxygen consumption is least. So they must not be too hot, they must not be too cold, the environment must just be appropriate for them. The reason why this is so, I will show you in the next slide. That is, the newborn is prone to heat losses, and they lose heat in 4 different ways. The first one is for them to lose heat by conduction, and that is loss of heat from the baby to a colder material that is in contact with the baby. So it's better that the baby is dry and exposed than to be wet and wrapped up. Okay? So they can easily lose heat by conduction. Then they can lose heat by convection, which is loss of heat from the baby to the cooler surrounding air. So this is why you do not want to put a fan, for instance, directly across the baby, because the convectional current that is generated, there will be loss of heat into that scenario. And then they can lose heat by radiation, which is loss of heat to a colder object that is not in touch with the baby. Sometimes, for instance, out of innovation, we don't have incubators, so some of us use hot water bottles. It's a good innovation, but when you use the hot water bottles, make sure that they are hot. Otherwise, if they are colder than the baby will send heat from their body to warm up the hot water bottle, and that's more injurious. So you can't just say that the water is no longer necessary and you leave it near the baby. It should be removed when it is no longer necessary. And then heat loss by evaporation. When you leave the baby wet and exposed, ultimately that water is going to dry, and it is at the cost of some heat. So it's always good to keep babies dry, even if they are going to be somewhat exposed. So that is the C of another C in the 5 C's. And there are different ways of sustaining this body temperature. You have the skin-to-skin contact, you have the kangaroo method, you have the use of radiant warmers. In some places I've been to, what they just have is a warm room. Okay, so the whole room, there is a central heating system, and then the environment is not too convenient for adults, but the children and then the babies are happy with those environments. Let's jump to the slide of Keita. That's the next C. Keita, and that has to do with nutrition. Feeding the babies. The obvious natural choice for a newborn is breast milk. Okay? So we need to separate the question of the source of calorie from the method of administration. It can be administered directly with cup and spoon via the NG tube and several other options like that. But we need to remember that breast milk remains the best feed for the babies to have. Alright, so do you want to recite it with me very quickly? Okay, so is it the students that are reciting the 10 steps to successful breastfeeding? Okay, so anyway, I won't take you through that exam, but remember that the breast milk is the best form of nutrients for them. But more importantly, at least let's mention two components of breastfeeding, and that is positioning and attachment. In the steps to breastfeeding, it says, show the pregnant woman, okay, how to breastfeed her babies. Now, why that is important, why I'm emphasizing that, is that it is not just tell the pregnant woman, it is show the pregnant woman. So you don't sit on your table where you normally sit far away from the mother, and then you say, oh yeah, mama, I go outside. You now have to do it by demonstrating. And it was interesting when I had my own first daughter. I was the chairman of the Midwifery Hospital Initiative. I just conducted training, and one of the people I trained was to counsel me after the delivery of my baby. And I said, and the person was special, and I said, no, go ahead, do your job, tell me what I'm supposed to do. And I was using that to recheck whether she learned anything from the training in itself. So it's important to recognize the components of good positioning. The baby is totally supported, the head is held well aligned to the body, the leg is properly supported, and the baby faces the mother. Those are the components of good positioning. And then good attachment, mouth widely open, the grasp of the areola, not on the nipple, and when it's feeding, there is some milk at the corner of the mouth, and it swallows intermittently. For some people, there is a slide here on innovative solution. The next one. We have those who will produce breast milk. So, next slide. Yes, we have those who have some challenges with their nipple, and we have this syringe device that we use in order to assist those who seem to have flat or retractile nipple in order to pull it out. You just cut the syringe from the other side. You remove the plunger and you put it into the area that is clean. Yeah, so that's what you have. I will finish it now in another 5 minutes. So so that's the innovation that can be used. Other forms of care that is necessary include immunization, management of newborn illness, and then care of the preterm. Time will not permit us to be able to do this. Now, what have we done, particularly with the 5Cs as a monitoring chart? We have gone ahead that these 5Cs, the personal health record form that has been designed, we will use these simple 5Cs to monitor the condition of the baby within the first 24 hours. We have developed a scoring system where you can identify the presence of any problems and the action that can be taken. I'm sure if you lay your hand on the copy of the personal health record form, you're going to see those parameters indicated there. We have also gone ahead to develop for the country a growth chart for the newborn, starting from the lowest gestational age possible, 24 weeks, and above, up to time. And you will see this presented in the form of several colors. You see white zone, you see the green zone, you see the yellow zone, and the red zone. The red zone. So the interpretation is that if anybody's weight falls within the red zone, it means that the child is not growing adequately and must be under close monitoring by a physician. If it's in the yellow zone, it's the alert zone. Baby's weight is not satisfactory, and that we need to review feeding and have frequent monitoring. If it's in the green zone, that is what you desire, and if it's in the white zone, the person may. So, in simple summary, I'm just taking you through a very simple algorithm of how the basic care in the newborn can be met by observing last tribute we did to Wellbeing Foundation Africa for putting this together, and the other partners, UNFPA, and all the people that have been listening. I want to thank you very much as I see us arising from here to contribute our quota to bring home surrender. Thank you very much.
For being baby friendly, can we give Prof another round of applause? The baby friendly Prof. And all the children have enjoyed that as well. And all the, thank you so much, because time is of the essence, and we need to be able to wind down at least in the next 30 minutes, so we can now go for lunch and then we'll discuss. But then there's a very key part, an integral part of this conference that we cannot leave out, and that is this was meant to have taken place in the morning, but due to some unforeseen circumstances, we couldn't just take this presentation. Is engaging midwives in a campaign to end female genital mutilation, FGM, in Nigeria. A call to action for midwives to mobilize against FGM, facilitated by UNFPA Nigeria. I'd like us to applaud United Nations Population Fund, please. Can we give them a round of applause? The applause should actually come as loud as that of Wellbeing Foundation Africa, and their response. Thank you so much. Thank you. So I'd like to invite the representative of UNFPA to please take the microphone at this juncture.
Ethiopia. That's number 3. So in terms of FGM, we have come third. We have the third position. Okay, and this data actually is from the Nigerian data now. You can see the sources there. So end of 2014. million FGM survivors worldwide. So we account for 16% of the whole FGM survivors. 19% of girls between 15 to 19 have undergone FGM in Nigeria. And 82% of the women who have undergone FGM were caught before age 5. That means that in Nigeria, the majority of the cutting is before, is an infancy before the girl. Okay. So these are some of the reasons why FGM is done. It's considered as rites of passage into womanhood. We have a joint UNICEF program on FGM, and we are working in 5 states in Nigeria. These states are Osun, Oyo, Imo, Ekiti, Oyo, and among the states, Osun State is the highest, and has about 76%, followed by Oyo, about 74%, and then Oyo, etc., etc. So, some of the reasons why we do FGM, according to an assessment we have done, which we are going to show, it's the rites of passage. In some places in Nigeria, it's considered that it shows a maturity from childhood to adulthood, from to womanhood. So it is considered to also increase marriage prospects. The value of a girl, that you're good for marriage. It is also a social convention. FGM is a social norm, and it is because it is mainly done not because people really like FGM, but it's a social norm because people think that people expect them to do it, that the family members are doing it, and if they don't do it, they will be ostracized, they will face some kind of social sanction. No, please go back, I have not finished. So, there are also some certain myths which the assessment uncovered around FGM. Some people believe that if a woman is not mutilated, if she's having a baby, it could result into disastrous consequences for the baby. The baby may be blind, the baby may go mad, or the woman and her family may face some very disastrous consequences. So it is also done to preserve the virginity of the girl, to keep the girl from being promiscuous. But studies have shown that FGM does not really stop promiscuity, because what FGM does is when you remove the clitoris and the labia minora and whatever, all the surrounding area that encourages sexual, libido, sexual excitations. Thank you so much. So when you cut it off and that place is bare, or that place is devoid of those natural elements that are supposed to help sex, the woman enjoys sex. So what happens is a woman who has a partner continues to seek for sexual satisfaction and may erroneously believe that the fact that she's not getting sexual satisfaction is because the man is not up to it, or the man cannot perform, or that this man is not right for her. And so the woman continues to go from man to man, looking for sexual satisfaction, not knowing that it is that part of her that has been removed. And for men also, we found that in Abuja, that it encourages promiscuity, because there's a community in Abuja where girls are caught, and men marry them because they are caught. The same men from the same communities, they marry them because they are caught. But what happens is that they leave their wives and go to cross the river, go to another community to look for girls who are not caught, because the clitoris also enables erotism. It helps the penis to achieve, to be, whatever, you know that. You know what I'm trying to say. That's what it is actually. I didn't say it. That's what the men say. Okay. And it's also done in some places in Imo State, it's done for aesthetic and hygienic reasons. In some places in Imo, Ekiti, and Osun State, they believe that the clitoris is gentle. That the clitoris, they meet some whatever that is dead, so they have to cut off the clitoris. They have to make that place beautiful. And that place that they believe is generally ugly. So, but I ask you, if God put the clitoris there, God put it for a purpose. Because He knows that during birth you need it. removing our cow. We are saying we are removing the clitoris. It means we are saying that our God is no longer wise and infinite. We are saying that you're a foolish God. You don't know what you're doing. Why did you put something that was unnecessary there? So it also undermines our faith. Okay. So, but when we were in Imo State, somebody revealed to us that, somebody told us that during some of the discussions we had, that she had a girl that was always itching, and they had to cut off the girl's clitoris because they thought that it was because it was unhealthy. And this was a dog that the female genitalia was not was empty. So what had happened to the girl after she had been cut? The itching continued. So they had to go to the hospital, and they found out that actually the girl had some form of infection that needed medical attention. So it is also mistakenly ascribed to be a religious requirement, not mistakenly, because I'm a Christian. So in the Bible, circumcision was not in men. So if Christians do it, Christians who are in Imo and everyone and Ekiti, because these are Christian states, so to say. These states are majority Christians. So if they do it, if they cut the girl, why do they cut the girl? Because our Bible says it's a symbol of covenant between Moses and God and his people. So why do you cut the girl? Because it's nowhere in the Bible. There is no thing in the Bible that supports female genital mutilation. So some of the consequences we see there, it releases sexual drive. It helps to the psychosocial belief is that it reduces uncontrollable sexual drive. It avoids promiscuity. It encourages marital fidelity, and it discourages divorce unfaithfulness. And it also enhances men's sexual pleasure. But I don't think it does, because I have met men who would prefer women who are caught to women who are caught. So I think, and I also have a husband who enjoys sex with me because I'm not caught. My clitoris is very vibrant, and it kicks into action the act of sex. So in that way, he enjoys the sex, I enjoy the sex. So we are actually having sex and not doing sex, doing whatever. Okay, let's go. So in moving ahead, I want to tell you that some of the pictures you see might be offensive. But it's good that this thing is coming long way after tea break and before lunch. Okay, let's go. So this is the picture, the climax of the big event. Let's continue. I'm just showing you pictures now. This is the weapons of mass destruction, because sometimes they are not even done with clean, sterilized instruments. But the problem we're having here, why it's very important for us to talk at this event, is because our study in Oshun shows that the practice is moving from the traditional circumciser to the health facilities. So that means that the traditional circumcisers are dropping the knife and the health workers are picking up the knife. So that is why it is important for us to come to this event. Okay, let's go. So this is the way they try to, this is from Somalia, they try to make the girl, to help the girl to heal from the event. Okay, let's go see. So this is the picture of a healthy female genitalia. Is there a problem?
We need to take these messages home